Welcome, Poggers, to another episode of the PogState. I am still Atlus. I am joined this time by Orcs, Wolf, and Valdes as we look to get into some of the off-season chaos before the LCK season starts anew. Or actually for the first time, theoretically, this year, because we had LCK Cup before. Not technically the LCK, but still, it was the LCK, let's be honest. Congratulations to HLE as well, and my goodness, there is a lot to talk about moving into this season for what it could mean for MSI and the next trophy that we have. But first, just want to say, like, what's been going on, guys? Let's just start with a how you doing. Let's start with Valdes. What you been up to in the off season?
Just I had to immediately look at Ox because we have been playing a lot of a different game where you rival marvelously and getting pretty highly ranked. But yeah, besides that, playing a lot of Slay the Spire, taking care of my baby, who's now 5 months old.
Oh my goodness,
and,
time flies.
Babbling a lot, and he's very cute.
I thought you were talking about me until you said
Wait. How do you know whether it's a word? Because now you've got like two different languages to get words from.
Yeah.
So how do you define first word?
He's starting to accidentally say like, ma, like that.
Yeah, right.
But not like
You're like, oh, you didn't say the second moss, so it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Could still be dead at first.
But wait, if you said then that's basically him saying mom.
Basically, yeah. But he's not doing it on purpose. It's like he has his mouth closed when he's like on his tummy doing tummy time, and he's like, ma. And it's like, it's not real, you know? But,
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
yeah. It's been fun. It's
Do
been
you
very rewarding.
Do you and your wife have a race? Like, can you make him speak English or Korean first?
Kind of race. No, I'm speaking a lot of English, and she's speaking both for now. But once he goes to school and speaks only Korean outside of the house, we're gonna both speak English at home.
So makes sense.
That's the plan. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Nice. Wolf, how about you?
I started Yakuza 8 finally, or was it Infinite Wealth is like the official title. I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles X now that that's out.
Big dog.
I went to Indonesia and Big Dog. If you know, you know. I went to Indonesia, I went to Bali, and it was fun. It was a lot of like touristy things I did. It wasn't like my normal vibe where I just kind of drive a motorbike around and see a bunch of stuff. I just went to like resorts basically. And I did wear the Indonesian shirts that Chronicler got for me. And he told me that people would be like, nice, like, that's a great shirt. And actually, like, almost everywhere I went, people would be like, brother, nice shirt. I'm serious, like, almost everywhere I went. So
that's actually so rad.
Or, like, a guard for, like, a bar or restaurant or something would like, grab me and be like, hey, nice shirt. So it was fun. There was a lot of bartering. Like, I didn't know moving into going to Indonesia that it's quite common to... I know that this shirt is $20. They know this shirt is $20. And I'm like, how much is this shirt? They're like, $120. And I'm like, how about $10? They're like, how about $40? And then, like, I'm like, we both know we're going to pay $20. Like, come on. So that was a fun experience. I was like, yeah, can we move this along? Like,
yeah.
You have to walk out of the store and be like, I'm not going to buy it. They're like, all right, come on, I'll do it for $20. I'm like, I know.
It is a bit annoying that you have to look up the price list before you go into the shop to know what everything's actually worth. So you can just be like, okay, I'm not bartering. This is this much. Are we doing this? And then they can say yes or no. And then you just go from there. Wait, I had that in China, like when I was there in 2009, a million years ago. But there are a lot of markets where you have to do a bunch of bartering. I remember I bought like a pocket knife. I don't know why I bought a pocket knife. Why was I buying a pocket knife? I couldn't get that back to Australia. I had the pocket knife for like a week, and then I had to throw it away because I needed to get back into Australia, and they weren't going to let me in with a huge pocket knife. Anyway, I paid like an extra 100 like Korean won for it or something.
100 Korean won. Wow, that's
not Korean won.
That's almost 10 cents.
The Chinese yuan. Sorry, this was whatever it's called. So yeah, that was I had a poor experience there. So I'm glad that you did better.
Yeah, bartering not my favorite part, but it was fun. It was pretty chill break. Got a lot of sunburn, which you guys can't see because it's under my clothes. But
He's
I'm, like,
not actually
like
wearing
crazy.
a jacket. He's just charred.
I am actually a lobster underneath. So.
Nice. Dan, how about you?
Yeah, I was playing a lot of video games with Brendan. I did take a a break from that to spend a week in Fukuoka
Unbelievable.
with my partner, which Brandon was very sad about.
Yeah. Your partner's me, not your partner. Okay?
Yeah, my other partner. It's getting confusing now. The terminology, got to make some distinction. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was quite chilled out. You know, we've been in Japan before, but this time we kind of was like last time we went to Tokyo, and that was very busy and we had a lot of stuff planned. This kind of time was just kind of chilling, and then the playing video games was really good. You know, I do like. I don't know if you know this about me. I am partial to playing video games. So.
Well, there we go.
That's crazy.
Learning new things.
Yeah.
And what did I do? My parents came over for a week, and so I was babysitting my parents. Yeah, you did. And I think these guys have met them already because they were at my wedding, so that was fine. They missed out, unfortunately. Brendan was on Bryce duty, and Wolf had literally just arrived back from Bali.
I took like a 1 a.m. flight back, and so I was like, I didn't sleep on that plane, and I was not a human that day, sadly.
But I did go to Jeju Island, and that was really fun.
Oh, nice.
Went and learned about the Henyos, the ladies that do the diving off the beaches, and it's actually insane, their stories. Like, yeah, it was super interesting. And the food in Jeju is obviously always amazing.
Expensive but good. You know?
Yeah.
That's always what I say about Jeju. Expensive but good.
We went to that crater thing though for the first time. I always wanted to go to the crater thing, and we went to the crater thing, so that was dope.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice.
That's basically it. But now I think it's time to get into some discussion about League of Legends, and for that we're going to need a mild costume change.
Was there ever any doubt?
It was cute. You thought there was a chance.
We toppled the blue wall, and it wasn't even close.
So we are officially the first stand champions. And by we, I mean Humble Life Esports. Thank you so much, Humble Life, for being so extraordinarily good. It didn't seem very close between them and the rest of the competition. The rest of the competition seemed like a mess, and that was a lot of fun to watch. Honestly, having such a cutthroat format, I don't think it tells you very much about power level of any of the teams, but it was fun, and we got a crazy result, and so that's really, really cool. Thank you for humoring us there. That was a lot of fun.
It's so bright now. Holy shit.
I know. Really, it's really nice to have some good lighting. Anyway, let's have a look at what's going to happen to the LCK. A little bit of a refresher for how the LCK is going to look. We are now back to what you know and love. Double round robin, best of 3, where all of our teams get to go on red side, go on blue side, duke it out, but it's fearless the entire way through. And this is something that wasn't, stipulated at the very beginning of the year when we announced this. Of course, the change that came through as First Stand was going, because everyone loves fearless, everyone loves watching fearless, and that's what we're going to get for the best of 3s coming up. Which
Atlas keeps looking at me when he says,
"Yeah, I know." I'm
fearless.
like, how, are we feeling better about it, Wolf? Like, I don't
Looks
know.
directly at me.
Yeah. Oh, no.
I mean, I'm coming around on it a little bit, but anyway, I'm not going to get. This episode is not about that. Okay, we've already talked about it enough. It's okay. I'm okay with it. All right, the team said it's okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, good. Okay. And they did sign off on it, right? Like there was the whole thing was put to everyone, and there was a petition and blah 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 blah. So good to see that we are going to be getting more fearless, because it means more fun picks and all that sort of stuff, and that's very, very cool. But now we get to work out what our expectations are going to be. What's the drama that's going to unfold? If you do want to, there is an elephant in the room. We're not going to address it in this episode necessarily, but if you want to learn more, you can just go to Dan Orks Harrison's Twitter. There are plenty of replies you can read through, and a lot of them it's a lot. Right, there's a lot of words.
It's glorious.
Dan was doing 2 things. He was arguing with people on Twitter, and he was playing Marvel Rivals. That was his off season. That's basically it.
He said he went to Japan. Like, were you even paying attention?
Do you know what he was doing in Japan? I was talking to Priscilla about this, and apparently he was just walking behind Pris and her friend, arguing with fans on the internet.
I can confirm the
Japan.
best place to do a Twitter fight is at a ramen shop.
He hasn't denied it yet. But yeah, there is a lot that we need to talk about as far as like where these power levels are going to be, which teams are going to charge up to the top, and who we expect to be heading towards MSI. I think HLE looking like they're going to be pretty good, but they have to travel. It's a peanut team. We always have to be a little bit worried about a peanut team.
You know, I like going by the paper, right? As was obvious before. Apparently, we have 10 stacked teams, but only 6 playoff spots. So it's a lot of stacked teams. I mean, anybody could make it.
Really are a slave to the paper today, Valdes.
Anybody, any team, they're all
Drama
stacked.
guaranteed. Chaos always.
Welcome to the LCK.
Welcome to the LEC.
Wait.
No, they said give me chaos because they don't quite have it.
They
yet.
don't have any. We've got all the chaos.
They're trying to get it.
The LCK has all of the things again, as it turns out. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think maybe 9 stack teams. I can do. I'm not going to name any specific names of unusual acronyms that are complicated and confusing. I hope they had a good off-season.
Let's just say that they're not afraid of being the team that isn't to be feared. You know? There we go.
I mean, it makes sense because we have fearless format, right? Like, it doesn't...
It should fit them very well.
So their benefit is gone.
No,
because everyone's fearless.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Trying to be a little be not kill. Hopefully it works out.
Yeah. I think that there are a couple of teams that might be towards the bottom, but we'll see what has actually changed. Because I think there's a lot of teams that we thought were ramping up even in the playoffs and the play-ins. Nongshim, for example, were a team that I think sort of found themselves at the very end, so maybe they can sort of challenge.
DK were supposed to be strong, and then they just immediately got wiped off the face of the planet by HLE
I'm not trusting them.
I'm not trusting them.
I'm not trusting.
Chronicler's not
done.
here. Chronicler's not here. No trust.
I'm actually
I'm
done.
with Wolf on
I'm
this
done
one.
with D+, man. I don't care if D+ is up 2-0 in the finals. They didn't win. They didn't drop a single game all season long at the end of the year. I'm like, it's a reverse sweep.
It's the most
100%.
obvious reverse
It's
sweep
the most
ever.
obvious reverse sweep. 10,000 gold ahead in game 3. I'm like, how do they lose this? 100% they're going to lose. I'm so done trusting this team. So done. So many
just play
underperformances
Cassidy.
randomly. Just
I'm going to
I
blindly
can't
trust them, and I'm going to be sad. It's the life of a DK fan. It's just how we do it.
I feel like they've kind of taken some of the space from KT because I feel like faith in KT is an all-time low.
I mean, yeah. Even KT fans are just they're like, maybe next year.
Oh man, it was a rough series.
I didn't even know where I'm going to put KT in my power rankings for the
Do
start
they
of
make
this
top
season.
6 again, you think?
No.
No?
Do you do the automatically put them in 5?
We do have 10 stacked teams, so it could be anybody.
I think that was just confirmed that it's 9 stack teams.
Yes,
Don't
sorry.
blindly follow the sheet. Okay?
I don't know. I just feel like they look rough. This series against Nongshim, they kind of got blasted, and it's one series to focus on. They didn't have as many opportunities to play as some other teams, but it was a very poor performance.
Yeah.
They were doing a lot of cool creative stuff. It was working really well, and then they were like, let's try to play a little bit more standard with our little flair and our little touches on it, and then they'll just completely faceplant. Like, it doesn't work at all.
What if we give Duck Dom comfort, like, on his Aphelios? It should work out, right?
The thing is, like,
didn't.
there's definitely parts of the roster I was like less confident about, but I feel like the mid jungle, I was like, this should pop, right? I feel like this should be a combination where I'm like, they will take. They didn't. That's the thing I'm most disappointed in, right?
That one game.
They have the potential. This is the problem. The KT, you can see
God,
how they win.
Look at him. Look at him.
No, I mean, you can. And like, BDD is literally the only person playing the game.
Yeah.
It's so sad to watch him try.
The thing is, like, should it be sad when it's happened so many years in a row?
Just give him a real
Isn't
good
it
team,
just,
though, please.
Like, the way that it works? He's had real teams.
He did go to World Semis that one time.
Yeah.
And then he carried them to the win, and then also threw, and they lost at the same time. It was very sad.
But at least EDG then won, you know? Mm-hmm. So that was... You can argue that they were the second best team in 2021.
Unfortunately, people don't give out
Actually,
second
no.
best team
They
awards.
also weren't, because DK was so incredibly strong that season. So
Yeah.
maybe we could say equal, maybe third. We'll give him third.
And they should have won, and it wasn't even Fearless, and we still had Yasuo top anyway. Oh, that was so cursed.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And it's going to be like the first 2, rounds, right? Like the first 2 rounds of LCK, and then we have the MSI qualifier, and then we do like the next 3 rounds.
Yeah,
right?
the Legend and the Rise groups.
Yeah, the Legend and Rise. So these first 2 rounds are very standard. And
yeah,
then we
Road
have
to
the
MSI kind of feels like a spring split.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of how it works.
It's basically just a spring split, and then we go to Busan, which is really cool. So we actually do have
And we get 3 matches in Busan as well, which is
Yeah.
super dope. Like 1, 2, 3 straight, one after the other, and so it's going to be really sick. And
gonna
it's
be a
King of the
great
Hill format,
show.
so it's going to be a crazy playoffs. So everything's the same until you get to the playoffs, and then things go a little bit wacky with how the format works, and it's going to be a whole lot more cutthroat and things like that.
And also, and I didn't just learn this right before we recorded, because HLE won first stand, both of our MSI seeds will miss play-ins. You know, so every other region will have a team in play-ins and a team in the main stage of MSI, but the LCK, both teams will go into the main stage, which is a lot of comfort because I know we were a little bit worried. Would our second best team be able to
would they
handle
make it
play-ins?
through play-ins?
You know,
It's not an advantage for us as
It's
much
a
as it's a
debuff.
safety. It's a safety for the other teams. Like give the
Yeah.
they shouldn't have to play against 2 LCK teams. You know, in the tournament, one of them in the play-ins. Like some of those other regions just trying to get by. They're not even the best seed. They're the second best seed, and they have to play against one of our best. Like let's protect them. Let's
Does
put them
anyone
right
have
out
a
of the.
Zale on speed dial? Do we know what Canadian food is like? Maybe if
Canadian
our team
food's
wins
great.
early and had some time to kind of like in through play-ins and get used to the food, maybe that's better.
Like maple syrup.
yeah,
I mean, there is
And
a lot of
poutine.
there's a lot of sweet food in Korea, and if you think about it, like poutine is pretty much tteokbokki.
my wife
Right.
puts maple syrup in her oatmeal.
There you go.
There's the angle.
That seems weird. I'd put honey in oatmeal.
Yeah.
I don't eat oatmeal. So
Huh. Well, there you go.
Wolf isn't into that fiber thing. He's just not
Yeah,
into that.
granola bars are fine,
Okay.
but like oatmeal, like as a porridge, not really.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of love porridge. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's more about like trying to work, like, because the protein thing is like carbs in more carbs and fat and sugar. Mm-hmm. And that's basically tteokbokki. It's like the same vibe.
True.
Except the tteokbokki is spicy. So all they need to do is pack like a little spicy sauce, like maybe the
They
bulldog
will.
sauce.
Yeah.
And then you just pour that in the poutine and you've got it nailed. It's a bit softer, not as chewy as tteokbokki is, but it's pretty much covering the same base, right?
Well, if Nongshim go, they can just pack suitcases
Oh
full of ramen.
my
Like,
God.
they don't even have
Actu-
to worry about the food.
And also, if Nongshim go, they'll know exactly the stores that all of the Shin Ramyun's at in Canada, which is probably all of them, as it turns out. Like
It's a pretty global brand. Yeah.
yeah, and the problem is, right, like it's getting harder and harder for teams to beat Korean teams overseas because as the world becomes more global, it's like, where is the place without the good kimchi? It doesn't really
Korean
exist so
food
much
is,
anymore.
It's kind of blowing up. You know,
It's
Korean
sort of
culture
everywhere.
in the last 10 years has really taken some big strides. So
So Max, are
this
you
podcast
saying?
isn't about that, but yeah, I can see the angle.
So Max, are you saying that for the West to win an international, for example, they need to find a really remote island
Tariffs on
spot?
kimchi.
Tariffs on kimchi, or find like a remote island that doesn't have access
Like
to
Iceland?
this? Well, that didn't quite
It
work.
Win
worked
that
in
one,
2021.
though. No, we didn't win though.
Yeah.
How about
So,
Greenland?
yeah,
Any,
maybe.
So but what we're saying is
Oh,
like
yeah,
this
so
is
yeah.
how you
The
topple
55th
the
state?
So no, I guess maybe it did work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because wasn't there just like one place that they could go to eat? I remember like there was an interview with Showmaker and he's like, we
Oh, yeah.
found that one Korean place in Iceland or something.
They can go more remote, honestly.
Yeah.
Just keep working it up.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Like the moon.
Well, it's not for us to figure out; it's for them to figure out.
Yeah. We do want competition though, because we're all about integrity of our sport as we move into the future.
that would make things
right?
more fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Some
honestly,
more
like that,
competition.
we're feeling pretty comfortable now. But there have been a lot of times, even over the last couple of years, where we've just been winning everything. Like especially when it was like we were down to just T1 and they had to do the fairy tale in order to win.
I mean, let's not forget, I think there was a large sentiment amongst a lot of us at the end of our playoffs that, like, because of Fearless, no one was really playing optimally. Like, we were all kind of like, it was a really close, a lot of these went to 5, but, like, Fearless is weird, and we're not sure, and no one's playing real comps. I feel like by the time MSI rolls around, like, that will be over, pretty much. Like,
Yeah.
I think most teams will have adjusted, hopefully, right? Because if they haven't, I'm like, well, I don't know, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, by the time we get to there,
Maybe
like,
next
everyone
year.
should have a much better understanding of how to utilize Fearless.
I mean, realistically, if we actually looked at like the domestic level and we took that team from the LPL and it wasn't called Top Esports, it had a different name, maybe just like shuffle the player names or something, it could have been competitive. You
Yeah.
know, unfortunately, they are Top Esports and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one team thing. It's so volatile. Like
Yeah.
we didn't learn that much. Yes, we had our smug segment or whatever, but when it's just one team, so much actually relies on this specific team and their strengths, and what comes up in the tournament, what turns out to be meta on the tournament patch, all that sort of stuff, as to which team is going to be the strongest. And when you only have one team and they're the representative for an entire region, it's a little bit unfair to judge an entire region based on that.
Especially when it's top esports.
Also, going into first stand, like TL didn't even play a single game 4, I think it was. Like they won 3-0, right?
Yeah, because they had a lot of best of 3s in that format.
A lot of best of 3s, not a lot of best of 5s. Hanwha had like 8 trillion.
Like that's the thing.
I think by the
time
more games
MSI
than were played in the entirety of like one of the leagues or something like that.
I'm not sure about.
I think it might be. I mean, they might have played more games than like in regular season than like one team played throughout the entire playoffs and their regular season or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. There was like a weird,
They
crazy stat of like the amount of extra games you played if you were HLE compared to a lot of the other teams.
I think that's a problem though, is that like, Fearless is so new, and obviously with time, like teams are getting more accustomed to it. But like, we always talk about how different formats have advantages, right? The LCK plays a lot more games than like the LEC, so we always talk about that's a big advantage. But I feel like it's amplified when we have Fearless coming in fresh, that like, HLE had so much more experience, and LPL was the only region. Like LPL had a ton of best of 5s, and Top Esports played quite a lot of games, went to game 4 in like all their playoff series, but obviously they choked horrendously. But like, that's why I think it's difficult for like, like the LTA, as you said, with the example where they literally hadn't played a game 4. So even if they made it through to like finals against HLE, even if you win early games in the series, like as we saw K-Cup do, winning game 1, like it's so hard to battle this team who are not only so good in game 5s, but also have played more game 5s in Fearless than, I think Casey had played 1.
Yeah.
And that was like a lot compared to, compared to Team Liquid.
No, it's pretty obscene.
So who's making it that's not Hanwha to MSI?
It's Genji or T1.
Well, what about DK? No, I mean, we're going to be disappointed
I'm
by
not
DK.
trusting.
Me and Wolf are not
even
trusters.
I'm not going to be disappointed ever again, because I will never be enthusiastic. I'll never be excited. I'll never be ready to think this team is actually going to be a top team ever again. No. Not me. Not me. Personally, maybe Chronicler for sure. Like
Definitely
100% he
Chronicler.
does.
Hey,
And I'll have another therapy
me
session,
and Crony are both going to be like, we're going to be talking about how DK are super good, and it's going to frustrate everyone, and then they're going to be great until they suck. That's what's going to happen.
I think something I'm interested in is going into first stand, we saw lane swaps being eliminated, but I don't think that's really been investigated that heavily, because it was a 1-week tournament, right? Yep. And we only had one team from each region. So I don't think that, like, compared to like Worlds, which happens over such an extended period of lots of regions competing, lots of teams figuring out the meta, you think about how much the meta evolves over the course of Worlds from like week 1 to like the end. We didn't get that. And I feel like this wasn't a representation of such a big shift in the meta that we haven't played out. So like, I'm interested to see where things land, because we didn't really see like range supports dominating. We saw them a bit more, but it wasn't like super frequent. The meta didn't seem that different, and obviously lane swaps were gone. But like, an example is how a T1 going to play now, right? With lane swaps being gone, carriers undoubtedly going to want to capitalize on that. Like, how is that going to shift the meta? Is it going to be as effective? Because we've had things like, a really common
and
thing.
does exposing Doran on the other side of the map actually balance it out? If T1, like, is T1 just going to be incredibly lopsided now, where their bottom lane crushes and Doran has to play weak side once again? Like, it's interesting how that goes.
Yeah, so I'm really interested to see how that plays out, because I think that could represent a big shift in where our teams are, because they're going to be figuring this out. It's going to be Fearless as well, but it's also just like that big shift in the meta and seeing what teams adapt to it best. Because I feel like for so many teams, you can be like, oh, well, this aspect's positive, but like, how is this aspect for them? I think the T1 example is a good one, where it's like bot lane definitely feels like they're going to benefit. Does top lane suffer in certain matchups? Probably. And then HLE, I think, Zeus is chilling.
Yeah.
In most situations, but Delight's definitely someone who he's been performing best on like these engaged supports. Like, how playable is Alistair going to be if Kerry is picking like Karma or Lux or even like
Caitlyn,
Varus.
Yeah.
Ash.
Well, the thing is with
Israel.
HLE, and I think that they've discovered sort of the opposite of what T1 have discovered, right? T1 can play so much more towards bottom side, whereas HLE can play so much more towards top side. And so you just play a whole bunch of weak side bottom lanes. And Viper has learned how to play. Like, I think this was the teething that they had at the very beginning of the season, was that Viper felt like he was the one that needed to carry, and then he realized, oh no, I don't. I can play utility. I can just get by and then get to a late game where I can become a carry if I need to. But they don't play for him in the early game or the mid game. And the same can be said for what T1 wants to do, right? Like, you play for the bottom lane, and then Doran is like on Ornn or something like that. Just, I will have an R button at some point in the future, and like, I'll just neutralize this matchup as best I can. Like, I think that there are clear like ways to play out these teams without letting too many chefs into the kitchen, right?
The thing I'm really interested in, though, is because we've seen a lot of changes since like before lane swaps were a thing. You know, one thing is like tower damage is so much higher, and also they changed the early waves. Because the reason, like, when we had like Ashe and Heimer support and they were so suffocating, it's like Varus Ashe bot lane, you just walk up, both of you use your Halo Blades procs, you chunk them out, you stack up on third wave, you dive, and the game is over. The game is just over. But now towers are tankier, right? And they changed like the early waves as well. So like, is it going to be as punishing? You know, like that's always the question. Is like where is it going to fall? Where is it going to land? Because you know, as you said, like HLE will play around the top side, T1 around their bot side. If you can't punish bot lane as much, does that mean HLE are winning that trade then if they're playing around top?
We also did see a lot of lane swaps at first stand, just not at level 1.
Yeah, the delayed lane swap is actually a really interesting thing. I wanted to bring that up as well.
Yeah, we saw that a ton back even in like 2021. Like, I always mention Duckdom for this because he was like the king of early lane swaps on Aphelios and crescendo damage, getting plate gold and out-tempoing. Like, they did that so much back then in 2021, and it felt like we kind of saw that again at first stand, where it's like, okay, well, this matchup's not that favorable. We have a faster back. We can turn that into a lane swap. Our top laner still has teleport advantage, so he could TP bottom, and there's a lot of things you can do with that. We saw that a lot. I think that macro sense can get you out of a bad tempo situation if you're able to get that one back. But if you can never get that back, then you can never swap, and then you're kind of pinned under turret. I don't think it's going to be as much of a game's over situation like Ox is saying, where the dive comes through and it's like, oh, this is unplayable. You try to come back, the jungler just camps, you can't get back to the turret. It's more just like incremental advantages that can stack up over time. But I do think it's a huge buff to Guma Keria, and Guma, who's been announced to be starting. We'll see what actually happens. I'm not getting into all the drama right now. But
remember,
tomorrow
is Twitter.
It's definitely, I think, a big boon for the setup that Atlus was just talking about, where Doran could just be a rock and then they push and like they get advantages.
Yep. It's like finally T1 has a QV. They haven't really been a team with a QV.
They can't just play Gnar every game though, because it's fearless.
Yeah, true.
So
hey, you can play
Cassante, and then
you can play Gragas, Scion, Ornn.
There are quite a few, Gnar bots that you can put into that top lane, and I think there are some that are even better. Like maybe you'll find the Malphite angle. We saw Cho'Gath win a game in a game that he shouldn't have won last night. That happened in the LEC. Some of the drafts that we've been seeing have been completely nutty, but I think that is opening a completely other can of worms if we're going to talk about meta. It's largely the same. There's a dog running around and it's a little bit crazy, and there's all sorts of other weird things that are happening. Thank you very much, Valdes. But now I think it's time for us to have a little bit of fun, because we've got a really, really interesting segment coming up that Kion cooked up for us, and I think it's amazing. So basically, what this is going to be is our dream teams with players from the LCK across the years, with a very important distinction. They're not allowed to play their main role. So we're going to do a snake draft. We're going to see who has the best team at the end.
Who gets
I
to
guess
go
we'll
first?
argue. And I go first because I'm the host.
What?
Yeah.
That's not fair.
No, I'm
It's
pretty
not
sure.
fair. This is
I'm
a
pretty
for
sure
fun
we
game.
should play like a mini game of some kind to decide who goes first, like some
Dang
sort
it,
of
but then
little
I won't go
competition.
first because I know the minigame you're going to talk about and I suck at it.
I'm pretty good at gaming. I don't know. I'm
I
confident.
tried. Okay, all right. Really did try and use my hosting powers to avoid playing a minigame.
Wait, but if we're doing the minigame, why are you right in the middle already?
Oh, this is just for like left to right. I'm not going to do it by order. Well, I guess they are listed by order.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
guess
care.
we'll do
I'm
it
just
by
gonna
order.
I'm gonna do it from left to right in terms of like not the pick order, but like where the champions are, and then because when you pick these champions, they're not necessarily going to be their role won't necessarily be identified until the end.
Yeah.
It's a snake draft, so
All right. That's my cheat sheet. It's my paper.
Yeah,
you
you
guys
can
are like,
do whichever way you want.
can't
It's
write that. You
fine.
can't make your own table on your own paper. Okay. All right. Mr. Paper Obeyer.
He is the slave to the sheet, man.
The paper slave.
And actually, so that we can keep Valdes happy and we're following the sheet, let's talk about the rules of the minigame. We're going to be playing a game that you may have seen if you've been watching some T1 streams. D-Gun also had it on his stream. I was there for a little bit when he was covering, I believe it was the Challenger Finals, or at least one of the Bro matches. I think it was Bro versus T1, which was, it was pretty cool. And it's going to be Fruits Box. That's what we're going to be playing. Basically, this is the thing where you have to like group fruit.
Citrus together, like apples, like you have a Granny Smith, a red apple.
It's all just the one apple, and they've got numbers on them, and you have to make them equal 10.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like identifying like are grapes closer to an orange or perhaps like a banana?
Isn't a banana technically like a herb or something? I've heard that before. Yeah,
it's a berry actually. That's probably what you heard.
That feels like it makes even.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like grapes,
it's disputable as well because they do have seeds.
Why, dude? That's not good.
Yeah, it is
Bananas
disputable.
have seeds?
Yeah, they do. The little black bits in the middle.
How do you think you grow new bananas?
Yeah, like
Where do bananas
the banana
come
peel went into the ground and then
This isn't Minecraft, Brendan.
It's the banana spawner. Like what? Obviously.
Who's going first?
Okay.
Are we just do them all at the same time?
Definitely Max, so he's most stressed.
Wait, so I go first? Let's press the redo button, right? I'm going.
It started.
I'm going.
Max!
I'm going.
It's kind of working.
I don't think it's working.
It's not working.
Remember when Sudoku was everybody
duck
played it before smartphones?
Yeah. Keep it up.
I'm 100% gonna lose this. If Max already hit 50, I'm like, it's done for me.
I think third place is the worst.
See, I'm actually not 30 yet. I'm 30 this year, so I'm still a gamer.
Yeah, Dan's the youngest. This isn't fair. It filmed the episode
I'm
in
actually
like 7
I got
years.
69. I instantly win. I got 69. I got 69. Okay, stress is gone. Go, get in there.
Oh my god.
Isn't that what the kids do these days? They prestige now.
No, that's like
In the Call of Duty.
Call of Duty?
Yeah.
I am pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, Brendan, I just have a call from your wife. It's really important, so you need to take it right now.
No, it's not important. This is all that matters.
Oh, the 7 surrounded by 1s, you could get that. And that's 4.
Stop helping him.
Yeah, that one.
Oh my god, wait, he actually helped me.
See?
He's trying to help me beat Dan. Colluding, reported.
10, 9, 8,
No, don't do that.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
I got 100. 100, okay. Yeah, Wolf's doing it, but he's hiding it from us.
Yeah, I don't want you guys to see because I'm so bad.
Yeah, it must be fun if you're good at it. Jerkhead.
It's just in general.
Jerkhead in general. Yeah.
You got to think about 3 combos.
I know what I
4
gotta think about.
combos.
For the App
I'm
Store.
so bad, dude.
Cayenne, Max is cheating by practicing.
Oh, you
This
got
is
a
first
nice
time.
round 100. That's pretty cool. So we're gonna so it's basically whoever comes first, and then we go clockwise or anti-clockwise depending on which benefits me the most.
No,
right?
it's-
Oh, okay, we'll just be confusing
I
them.
don't think it's that confusing. We have a table for a reason.
All right, paper man.
It's right there.
I got
on
60,
the
I think
paper.
it was 66 I got.
Oh,
66, okay.
4th place.
hey, unless
Dan
Dan
could mess
colossally
up.
messes up.
Oh my god, he's in the zone. Dan's only 7 years younger than you, Max.
I mean, I should theoretically be fine. It's just me and Wolf. Wolf and I just don't have brains for this. We're we have turn-based brains.
Yeah, I'm not good.
Okay?
at that,
Turn-based
so
We have turn-based brains.
It is okay, actually.
118.
115.
I got worse. I only got 80.
So you guys have a chance for redemption if you crush us in the multiplayer.
Based on how this is going, I'm thinking probably not going to happen.
I can't
it
see the
didn't work.
top ones. But it's the score screen. I haven't actually got one yet. I've literally got none yet.
So much harder. You said Degon made this? That explains everything.
Yeah, you guys terrible.
No, I was gonna get that. Who's yellow?
Ah! No. Did I get it?
Who
You
even
get
got
it?
that? I don't know. I had to do it like.
That was me. I'm playing turn based.
Winner.
80.
You went
63.
49.
I got 39.
It was so hard. This one I would
All right.
drag. It wouldn't work.
I feel better now. At least I didn't get last in both.
yeah.
So now, I'm not the host. Max has to do it. I'm not allowed to.
And so now, Daniel, if you could select a player, they cannot be playing their main role. However, you can also select them from any time in LCK history. So you can choose a player that played in 2015. Wait, can we go back to Champions, or is it just from LCK when LCK started and existed?
Locodoco.
So we can choose Lilac if we want to. Okay, fantastic.
Mad Life.
We're not going to do that. But Mad Life you could play Mad Life top lane. So let's see what Orcs wants to do now that we've put that into
As my
Blitzcrank.
first pick, I will be taking. This is crazy. You guys are. This is a really wild one. I'm gonna go for Chovy.
Yeah.
All right.
And where is it going?
You don't have to say yet.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Don't you? Why not? Ah. Okay.
After everyone's
say it at
drafted,
the
then
end.
you say where they're going, but you just have to pick them at first.
Okay. I'll go second. I'll pick Keria.
The best thing is we can cut this large amount of silence out of the video so
Yeah.
that other people don't need to go through the torment that we're going through. Dumb. All right, Dan, explain where everyone's going.
Okay, this is from top to bottom. Well, Chovy's in the top lane.
Yeah.
No brainer.
Yeah, really?
Really?
What a crazy man.
Pokemon Trainer Red.
Mata in the jungle.
Mata
Okay.
in the jungle. I guess he doesn't need to last hit there.
Marin in the mid lane.
Okay.
Izaka 80 carry and def support.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
It's terrible.
That's a good choice.
All right, explain
for what
depth
you chose.
support.
Well, are we gonna each
Explain depth support.
explains it?
I don't think you can explain it. Your
Okay.
bottom lane is doo-doo.
Okay.
It's
as
almost
I
as bad
said,
as mine.
as I said, the further I go down it, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
But okay, I'll start for the
And Marin
explanation.
isn't
to the
even
top.
a good flex top laner in
Look,
the mid.
guys, just
Like he's gonna play Renekton every game.
just leave me alone. Okay.
Yes.
I started with Chovy top. This is where it started really strong. Chovy
Quite
top,
strong,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to explain that part.
Yeah.
Go to the next
So the thing with Mata is obviously him and Dandy were really good as a jungle support duo, and I
Mm-hmm.
think there's a really good understanding of like what a jungle needs to do.
I think
And
the Mata pick very defensible.
and he actually plays. I know from like because I followed support a lot because I was a support player.
Mm.
At the time, he played a lot of other roles in solo queue and had other accounts playing other roles. So like I actually think that's a really solid pick for jungle. I
Mm-hmm.
think he'd do a great job there. Marin, you know, I was struggling because I was looking at. I thought Viper would be like a great one to flex to mid, but I was like, you know, he was obviously a strong laner and he was more of a carry laner, so he can lane. Zeka, I kind of wish was BDD now, but you know, I think Zeka's 80 carry play, like you know when we recently had that 80 carry mid lane meta, I actually think Zeka was a lot better than like OG Zeka with the Corki. It was like horrible, but I think he really came a long way. I think he has the mechanics to play 80 carry.
What
and
about when he failed his
And he's
Valkyrie
just a
over
very
the Raptor
good-
wall?
we don't have to play Corki bot lane. We don't have to play
What
Corki. There's
about
other
that?
picks.
And he's really far away from the Raptors.
We don't have to
True.
play Corki bot lane. Just stick him on like Tristana or Zeri or something. And Deft, you know, we have the synergy from when they won DRX together, and he's an 80 carry. So he
does
knows
have
support.
synergy with Mata as well.
Yeah, so you know he's got guys.
Wait, actually,
support
then
doesn't matter.
Like,
Like,
wait, so you have like Deft and Mata back together from their KT days on the same team as support jungle? I can see that.
Yeah,
and
that's
they would
cool.
definitely be popular with the fans.
Yes.
Okay.
That would, you would definitely have a very popular team.
So I think you know what I thought putting it together. I was like, this is. I think it's okay. You know, is it gonna win? That's another conversation. But I'm considering how much this was going in the bin. I'm okay with how this
All right.
went out, and also Chovy will carry. You know,
I mean, you're probably going to do pretty well because you got Chovy top lane, and that is probably one of the best flex options that you've got.
Yes, and everything else, they're capable players, right?
All right, Valdes, where are they going? This is the one I'm like most curious about.
Okay, so Peanut's going top lane.
What?
That's an interesting choice.
That is absolutely not where you want to. What?
He took
guys. Let him do his thing.
Peanut's
Lulu
definitely
jungle.
going top. Because top and jungle champion pools can be very similar over many different years, and he's a very experienced player.
He plays Sejuani, yeah.
And in this meta, he can
And
also
Maokai,
play Gragas.
he can also play in 2012.
Okay.
Zach top,
I didn't really-
Maokai top.
But you've got Lehens.
Guys, just quickly, I didn't really go into this because I was kind of just going off that peak. But what era Peanut specifically do you want? Because obviously he's been active and he's also just won a tournament recently. But I don't think you want current Peanut.
I mean, maybe when he first joined Gen G, like that meta, I feel like would be good for the champion pools that he would have to play in the top lane.
So the same ones.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, I just think so Peanut's definitely kind of the odd guy out, where I feel like he is very capable, very experienced, and it's I didn't really have a good spot to put him in, because I felt like other players were better in those positions than Peanut. So Lehens is my jungle. Support jungle, they understand each other very well. He can play Elise, right? I think he is one of those players that really figures it out.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was
understands
do with
the game
Lehens too.
To a really deep level. I think you need that as a jungler. He's a great shot caller. I feel like that's kind of pretty obvious. Smeb goes mid. I feel like top and mid laners, much like Marin for Ox, it's he can play Jace, he can play Renekton, he can play all these kind of flex top mid picks.
Cannon, pretty classic mid laner.
Yeah, your pick's very similar to mine, but it's better.
Yeah, it's pretty much just better.
I don't know. You 2015 Marin. It's probably
he was pretty good.
He was pretty. His hands were okay.
Yeah,
but that was a long
they're
time ago, and
basically the
everybody
same.
forgot about that. So it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
And Smeb was also
Smeb's prime was probably
I
about
feel like
the same time.
I feel like that's the thing.
2016,
There's the balance of how good do you think this player would be in this role because of flexibility, and there's also just how good is this player.
Exactly.
Raw,
There is a lot of and I chose for a lot of that as well, because you get to choose an
peak
era
barrel?
that they're playing in.
Yeah. So I wanted to put
that's
Carrier
shot
mid.
calling, for the shot calling.
I wanted to put Carrier mid, but that would just make my bot lane terrible. So I put Carrier 80 carry and Viper support. Just because I felt like with the Smeb pick, I didn't want to put him in the bot lane because that really doesn't make a lot of sense. So either Carrier or Viper could have gone mid or into the jungle, but I feel like it makes my bot lane really strong if Carrier and Viper just swap roles. And
I think it's
If
interesting.
you just swap Viper and Peanut, you've got a good team.
I think it's interesting because we've seen so many swaps between AD carry and support between pros that I think there's a lot of justification for saying this AD carry could be a good support, this support could be a good AD carry, but you yoinked two of the most flexible ones just to put them bot lane.
Yeah.
That's sick.
I'm disappointed with what Valdes did to how it affected me.
So speaking of you, what happened to you, Wolf?
So
Tell me where
I
they're
was
going.
gonna take Peanut actually at the 11th pick instead of BDD and put him support because that seemed super obvious because of basically everything Valdes said about Peanut's flexibility, except that I thought because of his map knowledge and his brain basically how smart he is, he'd be able to
supports go jungle.
I'd put him there. I decided to go BDD instead in that position, but I'll talk about where the roles are going. So BDD is going top lane because I think he's a really. And by the way, to be clear, with the exception of Doran, all of these players are 2021 era peaks. So BDD at 2021 incredibly strong in 1v1 lanes and in lanes where he played control mages and dominated the 1v1 summits without jungle assistance at all. And I figured that skill set would translate to him playing things like Jace in the top lane and basically any sort of strong side pick. And then Doran going into jungle, this one was the one I wanted to put Lehens because I thought Lehens would be perfect for this. He has this huge champion pool. He can play Elise. He's good at engaging. He's really smart, likes to roam a ton, so he's really good at reading the map. But that was taken away from me. I was going to go...
Again.
Can you please identify who took that away from you?
So I was going to go Life, actually. He was my first backup for jungle because I thought 2021 Life on Gen G is super good, roams a lot, has a really wide champion pool, plays a lot of aggressive picks. I thought he could play something like Kayn even, and he'd be good at it. He did play a lot of Set, which isn't
Life
really...
top lane.
He did play a lot of Jarvan as well, didn't he? Live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought
makes
Life
sense.
would have been like another choice, but I started thinking about Doran. I was thinking about 2022, 2023 Doran, where he's playing stuff like Gragas, his engages and his like objective team fights where he just wins an objective off of just some sick engage like a
And he
jungler
doesn't have
might
to
need
lane.
to do. He doesn't have to lane. I
think
I
that's
thought
the
about that
biggest
a lot.
positive.
Maybe he
do
should.
this in real life.
He's just
I was thinking like
I'm
Doran
sold.
could be clutch in a fight on Baron, a fight on Dragon, set it up, get the objective secured. So I decided to go for him. I thought you guys would hate this one, but it
I
seems
am
like
gonna
it's going
say.
decently
I'm
well.
I'm
kind
going
of
to
okay
say
with
one caveat, one quick caveat, okay? That will put fear into all of your hearts because it does depend on the meta. Imagine Doran Nidalee.
Oh god.
It's okay. He doesn't have to play it. It's fine. You can ban it.
So what's your mid lane?
So mid lane is Khan,
Yeah.
because he can play Jace incredibly well. Obviously Renekton and some of those other flex picks. Just in general, a dominant laner that I think would do really well in the mid lane, just in general.
oh, and you're putting Showmaker Canyon in the bottom lane? That's so
So-
cute.
Showmaker is going to be AD carry because obviously he's played it a ton. Who was the best
Ezreal.
Lucian player in 2021? It was Showmaker. And obviously he's going to be playing bottom lane, so he has opportunity to play Lucian there. Loves the Ezreal. He did fine even though I'm not picking those years of him, like playing 80 carries in mid lane. He wasn't obviously the best,
His
but
Corki was really, really good.
yeah. I just feel like Showmaker makes the most sense in that spot, and his flexibility with his champion pool makes it really easy for him to play through whatever meta's thrown at him. And then Canyon, insanely flexible player, champion pool is massive, knows how to engage, knows the map really well, plays with Showmaker, has synergy with him, so and Khan as well, obviously. So I thought it would be pretty easy to slot him in there. And I feel pretty good about this lineup, actually. Like, when we first got the assignment for this, I was like, oh, I am never going to be able to make this work. Especially because even though I have a lot of knowledge of some of the older players, it's not as intimate as some of you guys. Obviously, you've been, commentating and working on the league longer than me. So I was like, how am I going to make this work with my era of LCK? And I'm actually like, you know what? It turned out all right. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's better than Valdes and Noxus so far.
You're just mad about Peanut being top lane. It's fine.
I am mad about it.
It's fine.
That's not right.
I mean, it is wrong.
It's
it is very.
fine.
It's a mis.
Lehen's in jungle makes sense, but
It feels like a miscarriage of justice. The fact that Peanut isn't support. All right, so now I get to start
He
with.
doesn't have to play support. I mean, Viper playing Vlad in the top lane would have been cool too. But
Yeah,
it's whatever.
and GP because in
Yeah.
the Awesome Dude meta he played top laners, so it was
He
fun.
did, yeah.
Darius. Okay, I'm not
play
gonna.
Darius?
I'm gonna stop talking about Valdes' options, and I'm gonna go to mine, which makes
Glad
me a
I'm
bit sad.
adding controversy.
So top lane is going to be Dade. And the reason I chose Dade is because I get to choose the era. I get to choose when he was good. The problem is upon reflection, Dade's main issue was champion pool. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, he can play
Just
Twisted
play
Fate
Cassante.
and he can play Yasuo. I don't know whether his champion pool necessarily stretches in a good direction in the top lane field. However, he does, have a lot of experience on champions that do like to get around the map and make decisions. So I think Dade in his prime could be a good choice, but I kind of wish that I had have chosen slightly differently. However, I think that it's arguable because Dade was touted as one of the most, exciting players in a really long time in his day, right?
Yes.
This is not. I'm not talking about like Masters 3 Dade, which was the most depressing thing you'll ever see in your life in the LPL in 2015. It was more the one prior to that. So that's what I'm going to go with. Faker is obviously in the jungle. Faker plays so much jungle on stream. He's probably one of the most gifted mechanical players of all time, and so putting him in a place where he can affect the entire map probably wins me this whole game.
What era fake? I think this is important.
Any of them, pick one.
Good
I actually
answer.
think that Faker is. It's hard to
2023.
pick.
The thing is,
Yeah,
but the thing is, like, I feel like obviously, like, he's had a long career and he's become such a powerful voice in T1, obviously. But like, I feel like the from the timeline, there's like how much you want the focus to be on. I'm the best player in the world. I have insane hands, and how much do you want the focus to be on? I literally will make my team win every tournament because I tell them exactly
So
what
I
to
think
do.
as a jungler, I think it's better to have a later era Faker.
Yeah,
right?
that's what
so
I
that's
thought.
what I'm thinking. And he's like, it's still cool because like he started his career playing mid lane Nidalee, and like everyone knows he plays a ton of Lee Sin on his stream and things like this. He's one of the only mid laners to competitively play Master Yi, who is also a jungler. There are a lot of options. The guy's played half the roster competitively, so. I think that Faker is a pretty good choice. But I think I'd probably go with like 2023, 24 Faker, probably. Neither here nor there. 2023 is harder because he did have an injury in that year.
Maybe the wrists from an earlier career Faker and then the brain of the later career Faker.
There
That's
we go.
the perfect combo.
Hybridization.
But I think that we can also, you're not necessarily choosing like whether they've got any issues like that. Anyway, let's go to the mid lane. I'm going to go with Zeus. I think that was a pretty clean choice. The guy plays a lot of mid laners already.
I heard he's pretty good at Yone.
And he's pretty good at Yone. So this time he gets to play it instead of Zeka playing it every game. So there you go. Congrats, Zeus. You're a really good choice. Beryl started his career as an AD carry. So I'm going to put him in AD carry. There we go. He also, because I didn't necessarily see like a true shot caller, I guess, although Faker does do a lot of calling on his teams. I think that you do want to have like a good voice, and I think AD carry is actually a role if you've got stacked solo lanes that you can make shot calls. This is something that was proven in the Rocks Tigers, where Prey was doing a lot of shot calling and things like this.
Some players do it well.
Yep. I think Ruler has done it in the past as well when they do have a lot of other
He does
stuff
talk
they
a
can
lot.
do.
I honestly think with the fact you're fake in the jungle, I think you're fine.
Yeah, I
The
think
shot
we're probably
calling,
chilling.
like, and anything else is insurance,
Yep. But Beryl for the crazy, Faker for the this is the set play, and I think that would work. Unless they just ripped each other's heads off, which might actually happen. And then I've got Rookie in support because I just wanted to pick Rookie because I regretted not picking Rookie instead of Dade, and it was either him or Score. I
Which
think
year?
Score would be a better support.
IG?
IG 2018 is probably what I'd choose.
Yeah.
And then we just run kill lanes, him and Beryl playing crazy stuff, and that
sounds
would
good.
be pretty fun. And the idea of like two of my favorite players of all time being in the bottom lane together, just it tickles. It tickles my fancy. It makes me happy.
So are we gonna like do like a rating each person thinks is like best to worst?
So I actually think that should be for those of you who have watched this episode of the PogState. Let us know which roster you think is going to be the best, and then we can crown the winner in the next episode of the PogState. Is what we could do. But let's have some initial thoughts because I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think has the best, and who do you think has the worst? Let's start with you, Wolf.
I think Valdes
Choked so hard, dude.
No,
I
it's
feel like
totally
he had.
fine.
I feel like Valdes might have had the best 5 players
Yeah.
to make
And
a
because of
solid
one
team.
swap,
And
it's
yeah,
all
he did
ruined.
it, and he did it wrong.
You guys are
Yeah.
you just wanted Peanut in support, and I'm just angry
yeah.
about it.
I
That's
genuinely,
literally it.
I genuinely would just love for my team to play your team, and like no matter what happens on the bot side of the map, top is just cooked, right? Mata's just like, guys, just stabilize bot lane. I am ganking top 17 times in a row. Chovy is like playing like, what does it matter? What he can play anything. He's like 30-0. He's just.
Dude, and you also get a Marin versus Smeb mid lane matchup. That's so sick.
Fun.
That would be cool, but also irrelevant for the outcome of the game.
I feel like Atlus's one might be the best.
Yeah, I feel like Atlus maybe did it.
because it has so much shot calling power. Like I feel like if we're working with these like makeshift rosters where everyone's off rolling, having a good voice and having somebody, and in this case 2 good voices, having 2 people being able to make good calls while still having incredible mechanics, means that like I feel like he kind of stands the test of time, especially the champion pools that these players have. Like regardless of what the meta looks like when we had like a mock tournament with these 4 teams, I feel like his would probably be the most consistent. I would say
my only concern is kind of the top
I have
lane
Peanut
champion pool
Lens
thing. But I
and
think
Carrier.
like
Yeah,
the thing
we
is,
put
I
him in
think
the wrong places.
a player at the level of rookie could comfortably play support, and then you have Faker as the voice, and Beryl.
Actually is an 80 carry. So
Yeah,
that-
and then Zeus is mechanically proficient enough to play in the mid lane. So I feel like you've gone for a lot of raw player power, but also like I don't think any of these role changes don't make sense.
Yeah.
Other than top, I think
It's
top
the
lane. Dade top is
Dade
the
could have been what?
the
Like if I
stinker.
had rookie top score support, that looks better.
I think so. Yeah.
My
think
only
then-
issue with yours, Ox, is Deft playing support. I'm not sure if that really works for me.
I was struggling. I'm not gonna lie. I think everyone kind of has
We had a
one
choke moment.
regret.
Yeah.
Okay, I think obviously
I'm fine with Peanut in the top lane.
we regret his.
It's totally fine. You guys think any of your bot lanes can carry a Viper?
regrets
No,
being born
never.
stubborn. That's,
I think-
that's what Valdez
Never.
regrets.
It's never gonna happen.
I think for my def one is I obviously wanted I wanted, especially because Zeka isn't a bot laner, even though I think he could do decent as AD carry. I wanted someone who has experience in the bot lane. I kind of went for the synergy angle with both jungle and your AD carry laner. And I also, my opinion is that it's easy. Like of all the roles, a lot of people have an easier time switching to support. If they're if you're like a mechanically gifted in a different role, it's not too hard to
like
show
Reckless.
you stuff in.
Maybe mine is
Core
just
JJ.
Bot lane is also very transferable. So
mine's kind of coming from maybe a place of like me at the beginning of the episode saying I'm never going to trust D+ again. And then going back to the trusted ones. The trusted ones, the ones you could trust back then.
you have actually picked more than half of your team as
Yeah.
D+. You're a closet D+ truster. That's what
My
you
only-
are. On the inside, you trust him, but on the outside, you're like, no, never trust him. That's stupid. And
Open up the league
and then he
media,
opens
look
up
at
his little
2021,
diary
okay?
that says, I love you, Showmaker, and he just pats it a little bit and then puts it away. That's what's
If you
happening.
open Leaguepedia, look at 2021. There are trophies there. It happened back then. It's not happening anymore in the future.
Wolf, my main concern with your roster is for every other roster, I can have a very clear idea of who the voices would be and how the shot column would function. But how do you imagine it would function with your team? Is my
Canyon
question.
shot caller.
Canyon was never a good shot caller.
Canyon.
I feel like Canyon will be able to shot call as support, as a
I
roaming
think
support.
Khan could do it from mid lane on your team.
Khan would be
I was
probably a
thinking
secondary
Khan,
voice.
Yeah.
BDD, I don't think so. Doran just goes where Doran told.
I think
to
it's
go.
hard for top lane.
Khan will
Doran told.
micromanage that whole team. That's what you've set up. That's what you've done.
That's kind of what has to
Play
happen.
through the mid lane.
Maybe I should have gone life instead of Doran. I don't know. It was a tough one for me.
I think that's an
was
important
hard.
thing, like having like a voice. I think that's the only area where I think like I'm like, and with yours really, well, other than Doran jungle, but I do get the whole Gragas thing that like and him.
He just clutches the fights. And he gets the objectives.
I definitely think there's some metas I'd be less confident in, but there's some metas where I think he'd really have a great time. But yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing is like with this, no one's gonna come out with a flawless roster because we're denying picks away from each other. And it's also supposed to be hard, but I think everyone you can see the theory behind the roster.
I think it's super fun, and I think it's better because we didn't have time to prepare. Because I think that and you guys at home can attest to this. Like if you've got a clear, obvious, this is the best. We should have chosen Dove because he didn't play top lane in the LCK and then went and played it professionally in the LPL. So we should have chosen him as our top laner.
I did think about it.
I did. I considered it too, but I just thought that maybe
but
having
Dove just wasn't very
a
good.
better player would be better. Yeah.
I just want to know really what people think about Valdes and his.
It's fine. Peanut can play Gragas. He can play Malphite.
I'm just really
Missed
glad that
opportunity.
Valdes
He can
chose
play
to give
Ornn.
us controversy for this segment because maybe then it'll get more.
Viper is a
people
fantastic
talking.
support player.
Here's an interesting one. Why don't we all take the roster of Valdes and we
make it better.
We assign where we want them to go.
Well, if I could replace Doran with Lehens, which was my initial plan, I'd do that. And It's just fixed. It's all fixed. All the issues my roster has fixed.
Yeah, but then Valdez's one doesn't work unless you have Doran support Viper top.
Oh, I have to put one in his to fix it.
Yeah, you'd have to fix it.
Oh
that
yeah,
way.
no, it can't be. I can't fix his.
No, it's
Totally fine.
It's a great roster.
I just think it's just such
also you should swap Smeb and Carrier. Put Smeb
You want
in
to put
AD
Smeb
carry.
in the AD carry role?
Yeah, because Carrier's so good at mid.
He is. And I look at my
actually.
sheet.
Do you know what?
Carry cross out, and I'm like, no, I have to put Smeb there because I can't put Smeb in the bottom lane.
Do you know what would make?
I wanted to put Carry.
Do you know what would
in the
make
lane.
Valdez's lineup so good, right? You know how he has Peanut in the top lane? If you didn't have Peanut in the top lane and you had Chovy in the top lane.
Yeah,
that would be probably
if only
better.
I were first pick.
If only he were better at Fruits game.
Yeah,
exactly.
should have been better at fruits.
Skill issue.
Apple.
Honestly, I should have
game.
been better at Fruits game. It's like I like numbers, but I just couldn't recognize them in that game. Anyway, I think we're trailing off. This has been a really, really fun game. So you guys should probably play with your friends if you were thinking about it. Doing these sort of drafts that are a little bit weird. Very, very fun. That was cool. Let us know what you think about ours, and I think it is time for us to call it a night. Thank you so much for watching another episode of the PogState, and we'll have another one coming up very, very soon after we've got into this next season of the LCK to see what our overreactions are for some of the results and see who's going to be in better position. So we'll see you there. For now, enjoy some LCK. Good night!